We are live, guys.
Hey everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Live. Oh, God. So, today we are going to, since we don't have any like cool new releases or anything, but we do know that the Knights are going up on pre-order this weekend.
Absolutely.
And I'm the only one who is super excited about it.
I don't know. It depends. I'll be excited about it if the armigers,
Yeah, the little ones.
if those are gonna be like the troop choices, and if they actually make it an actual army instead of just take a bunch of knights.
Dude, that's actually kind of cool. That'd be clever.
Yeah, take the armigers, make those your troops. Then you could do something like
That'd be clever.
the armigers, make those your troops. Then you could do something like
Someone repeat.
armigers, make those your who's that?
Mute. Someone pulled up the video. Mute it.
Someone
Delayed.
who's that?
There we go. I assumed that was John because he looked frantic. He was like, oh.
Sorry, guys.
So,
anyways, no, I think the arbiters being the troop choices and that new Dominus being like the heavy support choice, wardens being like elites. Yeah, that type of stuff. That would make sense, and I would probably be more inclined to possibly play knights, or at least buy the codex to look at it and see if I want to invest in it.
Well, fortunately, it looks like everything is still going to be listed as a Lord of War. However, like you're talking about with the armigers, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but those are going to be 3 per slot. So that means you'll be able to field quite a bit. So, I mean, there might not be troop choices for the knights, but you'll still be able to field a lot of them. And I think right now they're sitting around 200 plus points each. And if all the rumors are true about these guys, they're going to drop about 50 to 60 points a pop. So, or between 40 and 60 points. And so I think you're going to start seeing a lot of them on the table. Probably about 3 to 6, I imagine.
Do we know anything on stats of them yet, or have we seen anything like that yet, or no?
the little ones?
Well, the little ones came in the Forge Bane box, right?
Yeah. The only thing that came out really was the stuff that came out on the community page for the Dominus class knights, the Castellan and the Valiant.
Yeah.
The big ones.
The big one with all the guns.
So apparently those things can move 10 inches, which is huge because they're huge. Their toughness 8 with 28 wounds.
You know, in my Death Watch, I didn't have any Meltas, but I feel like I need to put some in there now.
Absolutely.
Well, the weapons profiles came out, well, some of them anyway, and I want to cover my favorite. So, did you guys see the harpoon?
That Thunder Coil harpoon?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Dude, strength 16, -6, 10 damage. Just 10 damage. And if it's targeting a vehicle or a monster, you get to reroll failed to hit rolls. And then if it's inflicts any damage, it's also D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, that thing's gonna be like a bye Magnus, bye Mortarion.
Yeah.
That's a character killer right there.
And I mean, it's gonna knock on. It's going to 10 wounds. That'll take him out of the. That'll at least degrade him at least one time.
Oh yeah, huge. And then you have the shield breaker missile, which is the ones that look like normal missiles on the shoulder.
Right.
It's one shot, strength 10, -4, D6 wounds, and each shield breaker missile can only be fired once per battle. and a model can only fire one each turn. So invul save throws cannot be made against the wounds caused by this weapon. So there's a 2 command point called Oathbreaker Guidance System. And it says use the stratagem before choosing a target for that Shieldbreaker missile in the shooting phase. A Shieldbreaker missile can target a unit that is not visible to the bearer and can target a character even though it is not the closest enemy unit.
Yeah, it's like, look at you. That's your warlord. He's dead.
Yeah. If you screw up, you got, what, 3 more missiles? 6, depending how you load out.
Yeah, because these things have what, like 7 guns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that thing's going to be pretty good, especially after you've managed to take a model, especially if you can target a character. If you can take a character down just a couple wounds, and then you pull off that shield breaker missile using that Oathbreaker guidance system strategy like you're talking about, that's going to be a great way to do some character sniping. Get rid of the Mortarion. You can finish off Mortarion, maybe finish off Gilliman either the first time, or if he gets back up, you can pick him off that second time with that.
GW is going to make me have to buy 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the shooting weapons and everything, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, them opening up, like the first time when they opened up with the Knights about a year and a half ago, or maybe almost 2 years ago. I mean, that opened up a floodgate. People just came into GW or any hobby store and was buying up those kits just crazy like. And even when the Forge World put out their Knights, it was crazy. It kind of died off near the end of 7th and kind of near in the beginning of 8th. But now with this, they're setting a new bar. I think there's going to be another rush for the Knights. And unlike 7th edition, or even way back when they were in epic scale, this 8th edition codex is starting to shape up to be probably one of the best codexes. Oops, sorry about that.
Sorry. But yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be back up there because they were really good in 7th edition. Their only weakness was area coverage. And now they got these little small, what are they called? Armigers? The Armiger Knights. That I feel like they're going to be more there, like go run and grab stuff and then shoot a bunch with their, like there's the new one that's coming out, the 2 cannons.
Talk about the Arbiters and their new autocannon arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like have them go grab an objective while you can still have range and shoot stuff
Mm-hmm.
and have that toughness. Because I'm having a feeling they're probably going to be getting the that troop special, like maybe something's got to get in there to give them like basically objective secured, because that was always their biggest weakness.
Right.
You know, I couldn't tell you how many times I jammed a blob of zombies underneath a knight and held the objective as he tried to kill off, you know, whatever 30 zombies at the time or whatever.
Yeah, when I ran them in 7th when I was still really playing competitive, and they were great getting up there and clearing off an objective, but as soon as another squad runs up, they take that away from you. Yeah, you can sit there and stomp, kick them off the objective again, but when you need those points and they can just run up and take it from you,
Yep.
it's a pain. I don't like losing points just because my model can't secure an objective.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it'll be something like if you take a full battle-forged Imperial Knight army, then you'll be able to get the objective secured for the armigers. Maybe not for the bigger knights.
I think the bigger knights would be too much. That'd be more wishful.
Yeah.
Wish listing there.
I still think we're only going to probably see one of the big knights. If you're running a knight army, I'm predicting probably you'll see one of those and then a swarm of the armigers. They're just, if their points drop as much as everybody's speculating,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be the go-to, especially with the multi-hit. Looks like they're retooling the chain weapon to be multi a multi-hit or multi-attack weapon. I'm not sure what the deal was with that. Just a rumor popped up, and I didn't quite understand what he was talking about. But that chain axe is going to be a lot better than it currently is.
Awesome. So the just looking at some of the profiles here. So it looks like the siege breaker cannon. I think those are the ones that are probably going to be sitting on the shoulder. The twin siege breaker cannons, which is range 48, heavy 2d3, strength 7, -1, and d3 wounds. That's gonna. I think this thing is, most of the weapons are strength 7 or higher, so a lot of it's going to help with troop killing, as well as obviously tank killing with its strength 16 and stuff. And I wonder. Now I'm thinking about it. I wonder how they're going to fare up against like a Titan. You know what I mean? Like maybe a couple of them can actually square up against a Titan.
Depending on what it is, I've seen the are we talking like Warlord Titan or Warhound, those type? Is that what you're talking about?
I think point for point, looking at some of these rules right here, if you were to take the new Knight Codex and make an army list at the same point level as the other knights, I think these little knights would probably actually be able to beat the other knights. Because I don't think the Warlord and stuff like that can just do enough damage in one shot. You can't one-shot these knights like that.
Yeah.
Like a Warlord can, because that Titanic rule. I've seen a Warlord in an Apocalypse game. Somebody brought a Warlord, and the other guys, they brought the Herodrin, I think, the big flying Tyranid one, and 2 Hierophants. And one round of shooting from the Warlord wiped out all 3 of those Titans, the Bio Titans, just because they do double damage. Now against smaller stuff like Warlord or Warhounds or maybe Revenants, yeah, these things are going to do pretty good. Maybe not perfect, but when you're swarming them with 3 to 6 of these guys, then they're gonna whip up.
Awesome. I kind of meant more like a scout or like a Reaver Titan, not so much a Warlord Titan.
Yeah, I can honestly say I don't think I've even looked at the Warlord type rules.
Don't. It'll just depress you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't looked at him because it's way out of my price range right now.
Yeah, all you gotta do is you just go to this wonderful forgeworld.co.uk and just look at the cost. I don't even want to look at the rules because of the cost. Just don't want to. I mean,
no, but those armigers, man, I just keep wanting to harp on them. I don't even care what that autocannon looking gun is like. Just having that Melta and that chain sword, whatever they call it, just running. I really think you're going to see 3 to 6 of these guys running around on the table. They're especially if that point drop is what people are saying, that drops down to about 150, 160 points. You're going to see a lot of these, especially for Imperial players. We still don't know yet if it'll actually Chaos will be able to take them, but at least for Imperial players, I don't think they're going to quite be the new Custodes, but they're going to be definitely the new hot army, and you'll see them flooding the tabletops. Whether they're going to be very competitive at the higher level tables, I don't know, because you're going to have to. It's going to take a little time to get the finesse down with these guys.
yeah, but what's that one Tau Forge World model that's really, really, really good?
The Supremacy suit,
The
big giant,
not the big giant one. No. The
Yavara.
Yavara, yes, that thing. I heard that thing could probably take out a knight pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, I bet they could.
Those things are pretty brutal.
But I remember the Yavara, the bigger the target or the tougher it is, the more damage its weapon does.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it needs.
So what? Let me ask you. Me and TJ were talking about it earlier today, which she's MIA. You brought up Chaos and the Knights. What is your take on building an entire Knight army Chaos themed but using the Knight Codex with the rules.
What's stopping you?
Yeah, I wouldn't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I was just curious.
I mean, I've seen it. I've seen people take regular Codex Space Marine armies and make them renegades, or make them chaos them up a little bit, not full on demon like, but they'll sit there and customize them, or even Imperial Guard, or sorry, Astra Militarum, and they'll sit there and make them renegades. I mean, they still follow the right codex, but it's just an appearance thing. It doesn't actually change gameplay. And I really encourage people, if that's what you want to do, and you're upset that maybe the Imperial Knights are not available for Chaos at this time, then just chaosify those Knights. Probably corn for the guys that are wielding chain axes, and just get crazy with it. I mean, that's a lot of conversion potential there. I wouldn't bypass that chance.
I've actually seen some of the coolest Knights converted from Chaos, before they even had rules. And they only had Renegade, and Renegade is kind of Chaos, I guess, but it's kind of like like their own house that, devoted to Chaos, but no particular god usually. And the Renegade box set's actually going to be coming out, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's cool that they're reprinting that. I was really excited. It's such a good deal, because I think Knights are normally like $140 or so. That Knight Renegade box is $195. So and plus you get that big old terrain piece, which, if I understand some of the chatter, that terrain piece that comes in a box is actually a terrain piece you can buy for your army, and it can do repairs for your Knights.
So I'm super excited about that. By the way, that's a $75 piece of terrain.
Mm-hmm.
So you get 2 Knights and a $75 piece of terrain instead of the little ruins that you got before. And now you're getting this. Now, I saw that Bay area, dude, immediately came to mind was like, I'm building that 2 tiers, and I'm going to take one of the Knights. He's going to be dilapidated and like really battle damaged. And what I want to do is got some extra shoulder pads, and I want to paint one really nice back to the house colors. And I want to have that. I want the cranes holding it up by chains. And as it looked like the place got attacked before they can finish repairing the Knight. And that's a terrain piece I want to use as a center line of like center blocking terrain. So pretty excited.
I saw 2 of those Knight shoulder pads in a bits bin at Atomic Hobby.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab one of them from the bits bin.
Better hurry. Might steal your idea.
I'm gonna call John now. John.
That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, that's like basically when it breaks it down, it's about $355 worth of stuff for under $200. And if you split that box with somebody just to get the one Knight, dude, or if you're wanting to start running a couple Knights, man, GW is really stepping up their game. That is a good deal right there.
And I don't know if you guys ever played it. Have you actually played the Renegade box set game?
When it first came out, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Except unless you're playing Chaos, and the Renegade Knight got stopped every time.
It did. Hopefully they fixed that up. So
I know. I think it's because the good guys got to take like this really cool missile launcher or something, and I got something lame. I can't remember what it was.
Probably like, here's your heavy stubber.
Yeah, that's yeah. It was a lot of fun though. It was a good game, so I'm excited that they're reprinting it with new additions and stuff. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, I would also check out make sure you guys get probably the latest White Dwarf that comes out next month. Go to your local hobby shop and get that, because I'm betting they're going to have some mini game inside of that, or additional rules for Renegade or something to go along with the release of the Knights. I can almost guarantee that's going to happen.
That'd be cool. I remember Gerantius.
Yes.
My Chaos Knight. Before it was Chaos, I ran him as Gerantius,
Nice.
And because it was basically he was like the house for hire, and
Mm-hmm.
so mine basically has all these emblems all over it, and even chaos emblems of the other places that's hired him. So that was my Durantius, and it was pretty cool. It was I still have them, still hanging out. It'd be nice to have some unique rules for them again,
Okay.
because it looks like they're going to be doing household fact files, because
Yes.
they released the Griffith, which has a lot of cool stuff that I can't read because it's super tiny. There we go. So it looks like the household tradition basically gets to add 1 to your attack characteristics of a model with the household tradition during any turn in which it charged or performed a heroic intervention. In addition, a model with the household tradition can perform heroic interventions as if it were a character. Now, a lot of people may be asking, well, why don't I put my knight, my big knight in there when I may want to try to be shooty? But I'm thinking those armigers, think of them just like hauling butter around that board, you know what I mean? And now they're getting bonuses on combat. Like that can get nasty. You get in someone's face pretty quick, and Overwatch isn't going to be super scary at that point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, something. I'm going to throw something in here real quick. I know some of you guys have probably already read on the Warhammer community page about the knights and that renegade box, but that piece of terrain I was talking about earlier, the sacristan forge shrine. Okay, so this thing is saying it's going to be able to repair and reload for your knights. Used defensively, you can repair your knights, keep them in the fight longer, or used defensively, and this is going to be really cool, is you can ensure that your weapons with a random number of shots, like the Volcano Lance, which is my personal favorite of the new guns, always performs at maximum effectiveness. I know some of you have read that, but for those of you that don't want to read it or haven't read it yet, getting that Renegade kit, that's going to be a big deal. You're going to want to get your hands on that box.
Do you feel? Let me Alan. Let me ask you, buddy. Since you actually both of you guys were really excited about Death Watch, right? But how does it feel when you see the knights come out and they're like, boom, data cards, boom. You even get the sheets now that everybody we brought up on the channel. If you could just have each one of your lists for your army, what are they called? Data cards now, whatever.
Data sheets.
Data sheets. So data sheets, data cards, dice, a playing game box set that's separate with 2 big releases, 2 new knights, 3 new knights, the normal knights. I mean, it seems like special edition codex. There's just a lot of love. Do you think that GW favors one over the other?
I would say yes, because they're probably getting more profit from like selling a night box set compared to selling like Kill Team Cassius. Or I do know they did finally release Death Watch Primaris Intercessor box set. So you get 10 Primaris Death Watch Intercessors in a box set. Are you going to get like a special data sheets for them? Probably not, no. But at least now you get a shoulder pad that matches the rest of the guys instead of doing it the way I did it, where I was taking shoulder pads from other models and putting them on my guys. And the Primaris Death Watch Apothecary. Yeah, they got a couple new things, but all they really did for that was they took the original model and then they just gave them a shoulder pad. There you go. There's your. Yeah, that's all you get, because now we're gonna focus on this Titan that's this big over here with like 7 guns and kills everything. Yeah, we're not so lucky.
You know the who else got that shaft? Didn't Tau get shafted?
Got a little.
What came out after Tau? Something big.
I think it was Tau. They didn't get the big boost like everybody else did. Tau were just like, hey, here you go. We're just going to fix a couple things, drop some points, increase some points. And okay, go ahead, get out of the way. So we can get to, I think it was Drukari was next.
That's what it was. Drukari was like the big, like, rah, look at special edition codex, all this really cool stuff.
I feel like the two, yeah. Because, I feel like this with every time with Death Watch. I remember when Death Watch came back, I think in chapter approved, like 2000, I think, 2001, something like that. And I was so excited, and then there was nothing.
Yeah.
And then we finally got the chat. We finally got them in 2000 or during 7th edition. And then now finally with 8th edition. But it always seems like, hey, here you go. We're not going to give you anything new except, oh, here's a flyer. That's it. We're not going to give you any cool things.
Yeah.
We're not going to get rock and sock'em robots or big awesome knights or something that's going to draw a lot of attention. It's just like, hey, here you go. We're going to drop your points, pat us on the butt, and get us out the door. And I'm kind of used to it. I'm sure, well, Alan's now going to get used to it. I'm sure he feels that way with like his Chaos Space Marines always kind of getting the shaft in the end.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Bringing up Chaos is actually a good example. You could say something about Death Guard and Thousand Suns, but really and truly, a lot of people don't necessarily play. I mean, they play those because they came out with their own set of rules. Like, oh my god, this is cool. They're the new thing. But if you think about all the people that have like Iron Warriors or World Eaters or Emperor's Children, Alpha Legion, Black Legion, it's just kind of, we kind of get kind of overlooked. I mean, now besides Ragnar Blackbane, Khorne Berserkers are some of the oldest models out there that are in plastic that you can buy. And Ragnar is so out of date. I mean, God, I hope when they drop the Space Wolf Codex, I hope he gets a model because he needs one bad. But
that's gonna. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, but you're right though. I mean, Chaos is kind of always. We get kind of cool. We kind of get like a little bump. Like Chaos comes out. World Eaters are probably one of the better close combat oriented units in the game, and then you got Black Legion. The Black Legion combo of Abaddon and some, obliterators that come popping in and everything. But beyond that, there's not really a whole lot other stuff you can do. I mean, I know you can do like Thousand Suns and Magnus and a bunch of sorcerers and smite everything. But really and truly, like the people that play, like myself, that plays dedicated World Eaters, and my son plays dedicated Iron Warriors. I used to have a Black Legionary back in the day, but we just wouldn't get any love. It's just kind of like you said, it's just kind of. And I'm feeling with Death Watch. I mean, Death Watch, the only thing we got was some box sets that came out after the fact, after I already done converted up stuff, from other bits. And so it's just one of the.
But how does it make you feel?
It makes me a bit angry. But I tell you that what Knights are seeing right now, and probably whoever comes after Knight, which I'm going to speculate, we might see a Gene Stealer cult just like, hey, by the way, we need to go ahead and get a book out real quick until we get to Orcs and Space Wolves. So here's Gene Stealer cult. This is going to be like, what is this? Yeah. And then we're all going to see Orcs and Space Wolves. They're going to get all this new hotness. And the rest of us are going to be sitting here like, what?
So
I can't say it online, but we're gonna be sitting here like, what the heck, man? There's no love. He couldn't give us a new model kit. Okay, thanks for the intercessors.
I want everyone to kind of keep that in mind. Exactly what you just said. If you actually look, and I don't know how many people notice this, on the All Knights Great or Small page, if you click onto that in the Warhammer community page, if you look on the backdrop behind the Warhammer 40K logo, it's Space Wolves. Is GW giving us a hint there? Are they knocking on a door in Space Wolves?
Huh. Maybe.
My guess is we're probably going to see them, and I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot to bring that up. I'm thinking we'll see them in July. I don't think we'll see them in August. I think August, after the Nitro drop, we're going to see Age of Sigmar 2nd edition. Some stores are already getting some not product, but little freebies to hand out. So I'm thinking we'll see Space Wolves in probably July of this year, and then Orc sometime after.
Well, I think what they're going to do, I think you're right, though. GWs, if you notice, there's kind of a trend. So Tau didn't get a whole lot. And then Drukhari came out, and they kind of got like a whole, kind of like, as a whole, created a whole huge buzz. And then Deathwatch came out, which was kind of eh. And now Knights is kind of like a great big huge buzz again. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next one's kind of Gene Star Cult. And then they drop a big one with Space Wolves, because you've got to think about it. I myself am also a Space Wolf player. I do have a full 13th Company army. I'm waiting on a Codex to come out. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that are right there with me that are agreeing. They're waiting for them a Codex. Granted, their current index, the Space Wolf index, was probably the single best index of all indexes. But with everyone else having a Codex, Space Wolf is definitely not. It's almost always towards the top. I'm not saying it's a top army all the time, but you almost always had a Space Wolf player finishing like, fifth, sixth, knocking on the door, top table, but not quite there because they had that one bad game against the Graph Worlds or Drukhari or something like that. So a lot of players, I'm sure, are really frothing at the mouth waiting for Space Wolves to drop in 8th edition, because most people, myself included, think that when they drop, it's going to be pretty awesome. Space Wolves will be a really good army and a really fun army to play.
Do you think it's going to be Codex Thunderwolves again?
No, I think it's going to be Codex Thunder Maris. Because I think it's going to be all about, I think for the most part, it's all about Primaris Marines. I think, seeing how much people are playing with Primaris Marines and Blood Angels, and how much you're seeing them in Ultramarines, and you're seeing them in Raven Guard, and you're seeing them in Death Watch. Now you're going to get Primaris Marines that probably have an additional attack over the other Primaris Marines with Space Wolves. I could see them having the base of the same stat line, but maybe they'll have access to more close combat weaponry for Primaris, and then they'll have maybe an additional attack or something like that. Or I can totally see that, because it's just it only makes sense. Space Wolves is supposed to be one of the more aggressive armies. Back in the Horus Heresy days, there's two armies that people feared. When it came to, if they're about to, guys, you don't understand. You better listen to what's going on over here. If you don't do that, because they're going to send. They say something like they're going to send the Ultramarines. Like, okay, whatever, we don't care. But they say we're going to send the World Eaters for the Space Wolves. Oh no, that's fine. We'll join the Imperium. Not a problem. So it only makes sense that the Space Wolves will be probably very close combat oriented, and I see Primaris just being Primaris and Thunderwolves still being a focal point with a sprinkling of Wolfen.
Yeah, kind of go back to what you're saying about the Death Watch and everything. I am happy with the way Death Watch have turned out. I was hoping for a new kit of some sort, but I am very happy with what they did with the Intercessors, giving them the special ammunition, basically bringing all the Primaris into the fold. So kudos, GW, you executed that nicely. I wish we would have got a better transport option than the repulsor tank.
Got Rhinos.
They can't go in Rhinos.
Oh, the Primaris, but yeah.
Yeah, Primaris, yeah. I personally like the repulsor tank, but I get it. It's an eyesore for some people, but I'm very happy about that. What's that?
It's an eyesore. I love that thing. Maybe because I don't play Imperial. I love that thing.
Some people don't like it. I love it. I want to have 3 of them with my Death Watch, but I've got another project that I'm working on that can't really go that route. But I understand I don't fully understand GW's logic on what they're doing. I wish I could just sit in on a planning meeting just once to hear why they forego during doing certain kits and certain launches for their different armies. What goes behind this, so I could maybe have an understanding. We can convey to everybody else the logic that they come up with. Like, well, here's a kind of a mediocre release, and then we're going to turn around to this big fantastic super release. It's almost, I don't want to say marginalizing, but it kind of marginalizing some of these other armies. And if they're trying to get a balanced system out of this with their match play and everything, they're missing the mark just a little bit. Some armies a little bit more, but I think the most part they're kind of missing. I guess maybe they don't have their what's the phrase, finger to the pulse or something like that of the pulse of the community.
I don't know about that, because I think the I of course everyone knows I'm pretty firm. I don't really want a whole lot of Primaris Marines in my Death Watch. But honestly, I think the Primaris Marines in Death Watch are actually really good. I mean, I have actually built a list. I do have 2 units. I know I said I only do 1. I do have 2.
Oh.
For competitive play purposes, for if I was going to try harder. I've been talking with one of the actually, he is the highest ranking Death Watch player in ITC. And me and him have kind of been bouncing ideas of armies back and forth from each other. And, his list is different than mine. But he was like, I could totally see running your list. My list, he's like, it makes sense. He's like, I wouldn't do that because he doesn't like the idea of a whole bunch of additional like plasmas or combi plasmas or like that. And he has a lot more Primaris in his than I do on mine. But he was like, I like it. And I feel Death Watch, if built and played properly, keyword played properly, I think they could be right up there, because they're a finesse army, but they are extremely effective if you use them correctly.
And you're going to have to be like that with the new Knight army, because since you're not going to be fielding a lot of models, the Knights, they're not necessarily a finesse army, but you're going to have to use a little bit of finesse and play smart with them. You just can't run them up like a mob of 30 orc boys or 20 corn berserkers. You're going to have to be very smart. You're going to have to be using terrain. You're going to have to be watching your facings. I'm guessing they still have
not a thing anymore.
What's that?
Terrain's not a thing anymore.
Okay, well.
Which trust me, that's probably the one thing about 8th edition I hate the most.
What?
Is that terrain really is not a thing anymore.
Yeah. Well, they made it so particular about keeping your fully within, and because that could be argued, it's like, what do you do when GW gives you a ruin and it's, the L-shaped ruin, there's nothing here? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times I do discuss, and, you got the L-shaped building, and then you just say, look, it was a building, let's just, that space here is the footprint,
See, when I had to play him in my tournament this past weekend at Atomic, and I played 1 game, and I told my opponent, I was like, I personally am the type that if you're shooting through a building and I'm behind it, not necessarily in it, then I get a cover save, but that goes for you as well. And my opponent was totally cool with it. And if that was how the game was played, I think the game would be a lot better and people would use the cover more often.
You're a TO and you used wrong rules.
You're right, I did. Well, I mean, because my opponent asked me, he was like, how do you want to play this? I'm like, the rules are the rules. And he was like, yeah, but I don't really like that. And I'm like, I'm totally with you. I do not agree. I hate the fact that I can shoot this building here that's only got little slits this big that I can shoot through, and you don't get a cover save. I don't like that. And he was like, I am right. And so, you know what, though? That was one of the best games I've had in a while, playing anybody a game of 40K, because we played it like that. So, yeah, most of our guys for most of the game were rocking 2 up saves. He was playing Primaris Blood Angels, and I was playing Death Watch. So it's just, yeah.
I have 2 good points. One, John was saying he would like to sit in one of those board meetings and everything, and I was thinking about it, is you don't actually know, like, if you were to ask someone in America, hey, how's Age of Sigmar, it's not very popular.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the UK, it is a massive hit, because we're always like, why do they keep pushing Age of Sigmar here? Like, why is that a thing? But that's because in the UK, it is massive. It's very popular over there. It's a big deal. And the other part is I was just thinking about those little awesome knights running around, right, with the quickness and with the silliness of rules now with terrain. All your opponent has to do is hope for a ruin table, get his happy butt all up on the second floor of that ruin, and guess what that knight ain't doing? He ain't charging nothing. He can't fit. He can just sit there and look at you angry. That's it. He can shoot you, but you're in a ruin. You know, like
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
And that's part of the problems with the 8th edition rules. I mean, it wouldn't take but anything to say a model that's literally tall enough to attack the second level, like basically a monster, monster keyword or something like that. It can attack the second floor. That's why you don't really see people using bloodthirsters, because it's like, why? I can't get on the top of the floor, so bloodthirsters are only really good at killing stuff in close combat. I can't get them in close combat, so what's the point of taking them?
yeah.
That's a bad rule. And I'm going to say it, GW, that's a bad rule. The rules guys need to go back and fix that real quick.
That's John's opinion.
I think I'm right there with. I think there's 2 rules that they need to fix. I think that's one of them, and I think the other one is seriously, if you're shooting through terrain, I think the people on the other side receive a cover save. I mean,
So with that, I never ever thought that if I am in a ruin and I'm shooting you out in the open, that you should deserve a cover save, even though I'm shooting through it. I always look at it as like my dudes are up against that wall and they're coming out to shoot through the cracks and whatnot. I should receive a cover save because of my positioning.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I don't think the other people should.
But what I mean is, think about if you had 10 guys over here, 10 guys over here, and you had a building in the middle, no one's butt up against it.
That's true.
Seeing through the windows, you can see the models, but you can't see all of the models.
But remember, 8th edition is simplified, right?
I know
And how many arguments has it been that you've been like, I don't know if I can see it, dude? You can see it. No, I don't know. How many times has that been there? They wanted to just put a kibosh on all their arguments and be like, okay, look, this is it. The same thing with, can you see a model from line of sight? Dude, I have been in arguments where people have been like, how the old rule used to be like whatever the facing was, and like for the bonus, and then 30% or more, the whole thing. That was arguments upon arguments about what range the weapon hit you from, or if it was barrage or wherever the hell. Like it was too much. And now they just made it like, you see the unit, you can kill the unit. You see one guy, you can kill all 9 behind the pillar.
But
simplified it.
To get around that GW loves making little trinkets. They could easily say, here's a laser pointer, GW's name on it, put it at the guy's head level and shoot the laser through a wall. It's a crack in the wall. Look, hey, look. Do you see the red dot? Yes. Guess what? My guy can see you. I mean, to me, it's dumb.
You're talking to someone who I own a laser that does that. It actually does, like, it shoots a line down. You do it on top, it shoots a line out. And that puts so many, like, because if the laser hit it and it's hit my model, it could see. Same thing if it go through that little crack in the wall, you put that laser right in there. And if you angle it or whatever, if it can get to it,
Right. And that's my problem. They simplified it, which I totally understand. And I'm sure it's obviously it's working. It's working because veteran players are using their past experiences to be better. They know how to use it now. Okay, well, I got to be fully in it. Okay, I'm going to fully get within it. I got the cover save. And the new people don't know, so they're just shooting through it. So guess what? They don't have to worry about, I can see your guys. Okay, you can kill them. Playing is done. So
I think part of the problem is that they oversimplified some of the rules. I understand they wanted to speed the game up. They wanted you to get in and be able to play more games, but they went just a bit too far because they went from one extreme to the other. They should have dialed it back a bit. It's like, okay, if you've got cover, you get a tiny bonus. If you're a big vehicle and you're behind cover, well, here's a +1 to your save or something to that effect, or -1 to their shooting, whatever. But they just went, it's all or nothing. And it's just a bit, definitely not a fan of if there's one guy out in the open, I can't see the other 9 guys. Well, the shots are going to carry over.
Right.
That's a little hinky.
But that's exactly what I was getting at. It's that exact situation where they simplified the game. But I have so much more fun if I talk to my opponent before we play If we play it like I was referring to, you're behind a wall or I'm trying to shoot through terrain, you get a cover save, and I do too. And if you have one guy outside and 3 people in the cover, okay, start making saves until that guy that's on the open fails. Once he fails, he's dead. Now you get the cover saves. That was seriously is one of the best games I've played in a while because it was
Let go of 7th, Alan. Let go.
well, here's
I just played.
all it was it was 8th edition and all 8th edition rules with just a little bit more realism into the game. It's no more grabbing the Xbox controller. It's now actually playing the game that they built back in, the 80s, 70s, 80s.
So V has a good point because I actually got brought up on the tournament this weekend or last weekend. It says, I don't like how a unit is in front of a character but out of line of sight and you cannot shoot the character. I agree.
Yep.
That was when I got asked that. I was like, yep. I don't like to say yes, but that's how the rule is. You know what I mean? And that can be finagled so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, that's, yep. I'm going to leave my guy hanging right out here, and you can't do anything about it. Unless you're playing one of those new knights and you got those rockets that target specific characters. Then you're screwed. But
that's true. Frank also wrote, I am okay with simplified, but it is wearing a crash helmet and licking a window.
That a window that's frozen, so your tongue gets stuck to it. Yeah, that's the only. Like I said, I don't. Overall, me personally, 8th edition is a really good edition. The rules are easy, but I think just
edition, in my opinion.
If they would just take a couple things that add more tabletop strategy to the game instead of Xbox strategy, I think it would be a better game.
Okay, I could see that being why you're saying it's Xbox because it's like, oh, you do this and you get Z, instead of like there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 that can happen between A and Z, Like,
yeah, I mean there's
so much complexity.
Yeah, there's kind of not a whole lot of strategy. Okay, good example. I played in Alamo and I was playing against guys playing Space Wolves and he had those Wolfen. Me personally, if I go walking through a house that's all dilapidated, I can't walk very well. He went from his side of the board to my side of the board in one turn. And he went right through the middle of a building. No, that's not how that works. That's part of the problem, So they simplified the game, but they just got it just too. To me, it's just too simplified. Just give me a little bit more. Give it a little bit more of a spin to realism.
But you got to remember, like, how far do they go with it? Like that's where the argument could come in. Be like, okay, well, add this. Give me a little more salt. Give me more pepper. And then because you first complained that the food was way too complex and it was too good and couldn't eat it, and then now it's too plain. But you're like, well, let's add a dash of this. But when does it become too much salt, too much pepper?
See, I didn't have a problem with 7th edition. The only thing I had a problem with 7th edition was all the formations that gave all the crazy special rules. If they would have done what they've done with 8th edition and 7th, I think the game would have been more balanced than what we had. You had some formations that were just ridiculously overpowered. Then you had some formations that, why would you take it? Why would you waste the effort to even build a list around that? I mean, case in point. And I know Horus Heresy is different because it's Marine versus Marine. But Horus Heresy still works and is still balanced. And all they did was they took away formations. Formations are not a thing. You take a right of war because you have to have a certain character that can give you that right of war, and that right of war applies to your whole army. But then there's limitations to that. Yeah. Biggest thing being, I can go ahead and deep strike. No one can really deep strike. But in doing so, you can't take fortifications. You can't take certain vehicles. You can't take this right here. But hey, the rest of your army can deep strike.
That's interesting.
That to me was the only reason why 7th was broken. Really and truly was the formations just got way out of hand. You talk about the salt and the pepper. They added the salt, the pepper, the slap your mama sauce. They added some sriracha in there. They didn't stop because people just loved, the formations. Like, oh, this is so cool. Look, I can do this combo and this combo and this.
Dude, you're talking about someone who owns 10 Lehman Russes.
Oh,
Painted and fully done because of that Emperor's Spear or whatever it was, that formation. Oh, love that thing.
But you see, though, if you could, all they had to do is not let you have that formation. There still wouldn't have been nothing wrong with your army. Okay, take a Lehman Russ now, give all its special rules, but make it 7th edition and don't have a formation. The game would be balanced. The game would be perfectly fine. There would be no problems with it. Now, there are some units that need to be tweaked, which I love that they're doing that. Frank is a good point. 11 drop pods.
11 drop pods.
Good point. 11 drop pods should not be a thing. But
of course it should be.
But that's what I'm getting at. It's like, I don't think there was a whole lot wrong with 7th. There's probably some things they can cleaned up, which when Horus Heresy released their new set of rules, they even tweaked 7th edition and made it their own a little bit. There's minor tweaks to it. But they knew the game itself is not inherently broken. It's just formations and certain units that broke 7th edition. Now, don't get me wrong. I love 8th. I enjoy playing 8th. I just wish they would just give me a little bit more realism to it, and I would say it's better than 7th.
I know we're way away from talking about the Knights, but I totally forgot I wanted to bring something up about Knights, if you guys are cool with that.
We get off topic usually, so
all the time.
Let's bring it back to the topic.
Okay, I'm going to bring it back to the topic real quick, then we can go back to
whatever.
Okay, well, there's two bits of two pictures that GW put up on our community page on 2 of their different posts about the Knights. One is a bunch of artwork where it shows the new Knight and the new Armigers fighting a whole bunch of demons, and you'll see down near the bottom of the page, you'll see a one of the Knight pilots on top of his Knight shooting at the daemonettes that are charging him after his Knight's been downed. And in one of the other preview pages, they show a Knight and the pilot inside of the Knight, and a picture of a miniature, the Knight pilot walking around.
Yeah.
So, I have my idea of what's going to happen. What do you guys think? What they're doing with that? Do you think? But what do you think?
I want to know what's in his lunchbox. But first, I wanted to comment on that artwork. Dude, I stared at that probably for like 5 minutes, just finding so much new stuff. It is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the spear deal, the harpoon.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, after I seen it, I was like, I needs it. Like in that picture, because he took down like a keeper of secrets.
Yeah.
Just right through the chest. Just boop. And he don't care. He's like, whatever, I'm going to be sucking that back in as he's flaming everything else. Gorgeous. But yes, the guys coming out, I don't know. I don't know if, like, could you have another Knight come by and save him and you get double some goodness? Or can he be like one cool dude that literally has like his gun and it's just like your last hurrah? Maybe you can kill a guy before something happens, you know?
Like maybe a self-destruct thing like the Tau had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
Like, oh no, I'm about to blow up. Let me run up real quick and I'll detonate, kill a whole bunch of things, but I'm got my ejector seat.
Dude, that would be badass, actually. That would be super cool. Oh, man.
And also would like to point out with that artwork, something that people should probably keep thinking about in the second half of the year. There might be a dead Keeper of Secrets there, but we might be seeing a lot more Slanesh by the end of the year.
Yeah, that'd be exciting.
Now that's something I can get excited about. Slanesh just needed some love for a while.
Yes. Well, if people have paid attention to like when Age of Sigmar came out, that you had basically a season of Khorne, and then the following year, season of Tzeentch, and then the season of Nurgle.
I like to season my corn with salt and butter. I like butter.
Okay. Well, what are you going to do with your season of Slaanesh?
I don't talk about that. YouTube will post it.
But seeing in that artwork, because Slaanesh always seems to be missing, and seeing him in this, or seeing her, in this artwork for the Knights, which I agree, these Knights, that picture is just freaking gorgeous. Makes me want to start a Knight army, and I don't want to stop my other project, but I might have to.
Yeah, you do. I do.
But the Slaanesh, I think you're going to see them real soon.
Dude, in that photo, real quick, what are the flying things?
I think they're Furies.
Okay. No one brings those ever.
No, they don't.
Where's this picture y'all talking about?
I don't even have the page. It was on the recent page.
Meet the Dominus class Knight.
Yeah. The recent upload on the Warhammer community page where they're talking about Dominus Knight.
With the Arbingers and then the big Dominus.
Yep.
And a lot of people were speculating that there was a third Armiger option, but I don't think there is. I think there's just the A and B side of that weapon screw. And I'm not saying that this picture confirms it, but this picture might confirm it.
Yeah, it looks like there's some Furies in here. Definitely some Demonettes. Some Blade Bearers. Keeper of Secrets. There's a Great Unclean one.
So I actually got a response on the Facebook page. A guy said, because the question was about, do you think it's going to be meta, the Knights? And someone said 3 kill teams for 939 points can get me 12 missile launchers and have 6 wounds with 3++, and can fall back and still shoot with a stratagem that can wound any of the Imperial Knights on a 3-up. Add a War Master and a War Captain, or not a War Master, a W Master and a W Captain for a total of 1149. That leaves you 851 points to play with. So no, I don't think they're going to be meta anytime soon. Well, okay.
No, I could see. I think what's going to happen is people will take Knights. I think a lot of people will invest in Knights. I think that's going to be it's obvious, and GW's going to love it because they're going to make a crap ton of money. And then everyone that's not playing Knights, their list will change to go against Knights. So they'll take a lot of stuff like las cannons and melta weaponry and stuff like that. And then eventually Knights will kind of start not being as competitive because people are built lists to get around them. And then our list will be scaled back towards more troop-oriented killing. And then, you'll have the occasional Knight player that will show up and, basically kind of wreck shop on those guys. So I think a lot of people will buy a bunch. I imagine these Dominus are going to fly off the shelves. I imagine the new Arbinger with the autocannon arms are going to fly off the shelf. And then everyone else that's not playing Knights will gear up for that. And then once they're routinely getting beaten, and while Knights are getting beaten, armies like Tyranids and Orcs will be running the show, and they'll be beating everyone because that one-shot Melta isn't going to do much against 20 boys. So this is a common thing, and a lot of people should know that this is a common thing. That something new and shiny comes out, everyone flocks to it, gets it. People that don't flock to it get it. They know they're going to see it because everyone else is flocking to it. They'll build their list to beat those. And now they're so focused on beating those that it's gonna open the doorway for armies like Orcs and Tyranids that are troop heavy to come in and start beating up on your army that you can beat them, but you can't because you took all these specialty weapons to kill these Knights.
Yeah, that's
good. I think it, just like every army comes out, even with the Death Watch, there was a lot of buzz about the Death Watch that they might end up being a nice counter to the Custodes. I know this the talk is still going on in a couple of the team chats, especially for Houston or the Texas chat. I think it's going to be the same thing with the Knights. We're going to see as the tide comes in, so to speak, we're going to see a flooding of this army, and as it recedes, people will either move on to the next bandwagon, so to speak, or the really smart players are going to stick with it because they're going to see the right combos with it. So I think it hasn't come out yet, so we haven't seen everything about it. But I think this might end up being in the meta, at least on the Imperial side. It's going. I don't know if it'll be a meta breaker, but it's definitely going to influence the meta. Kind of like Alan's saying, people are going to have to readjust. Now, in the beginning, it's like, oh my God, you got 2 Dominus and a bunch of Armigers. What am I going to do? But then people are going to start thinking out, especially your top table players. These are the guys that play at least a game a week. They go to every weekend tournament. They go to the big GTs, the majors. They travel around the country and they learn. And they take time to pick apart your list or your codex with what their codex does. They're not wish listing. They're actually looking for the most efficient way to beat you. And they've already, even before you've got that army down on the table, they probably already know how to beat it.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that still with the Knights. I think you're going to want that Dominus in there, or the Castellan and Valiant, those Armigers, but you're going to need to be smart with how you do it because it's not going to be an instant win button. I mean, even the Custodes, which is probably one of the easiest armies to collect and play, is not an instant win button. It's pretty close to an instant win button, but it's not an instant win. So you're going to need to be smart and avoid the shiny and go with the most efficient things that the Valiant or Castellan can do for you, or what the Armigers can do for you. Besides having the cool factor, maintain having that cool factor for your army. That's what you love. But if you're wanting to be competitive, you're going to need to be really smart in what you are buying for your army. And if you like to play as casual, you don't care if you don't plan on going to like Las Vegas Open or any other GTs here in Texas, though you are going to Warzone Houston. We know that. But you don't care if you go into a GT because you're just going to go there and have fun. And man, you stick to the rule of cool and you get to come up with the craziest night list you want. Just stick to the rule of cool. But if you want to be competitive, you're going to need to really think about what you're going to do with that army and maybe even look at augmenting. And I think in the future, we're going to see GW stepping up and saying, okay, no more of this command point farming. There's a little bit of talk about it in some indirect channels that I don't want to name drop, get anybody in trouble, but there's talks about this command point farming, and you guys might see by the end of the year that get nipped in the butt. So you need to start thinking now how best to utilize those little bit of command points that you have.
They better not take Kari. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think the big offenders are the people that take say 1,500, 1,600 points of Adeptus Custodes, and then they take 400 points of 400-point brigade of Imperial Guard. I don't know if you can do that, but it sounds like you can. Maybe 500 points, and get that 9 extra or 12 extra command points. And they don't care about the guard; they just wanted the command points. And GW is a pretty big on the forging the narrative, as like some people like to joke about, but it does kind of make perfect sense that they don't want you to be basically breaking the game. They want you just to play the game and enjoy it. And when you're taking something just for command points, I don't know.
I could see them doing like a thing where if you take a battalion, you got to spend X number of points for it to meet a battalion standard. Even for armies that are cheap, that means you have to take some other stuff too. But the minimum points for a battalion is 700. Just using, I'm not saying that's the number, but just I can see them doing something like that.
I mean, are you gonna start? So you think you're gonna see a lot of knight armies, or are you just gonna see a splash of the knights in Imperial, list?
I personally, I think you're going to see maybe one or two knight armies pop up because, I mean, who doesn't want to run exactly? Who doesn't want to run 5 or 6 knights? I ran 5 knights in 7th edition. I loved it. And we keep talking about this. I keep thinking to myself, my friend Kale that I used to play with all the time, he hated the knights, and knights were the only way I could beat him in the game after like 3 or 4 years of knowing this guy. So I was giddy, and I'm getting giddy now just thinking about playing knights again. But heck, I even forgot what we're talking about. I think of knights on my table right now.
I get it. See, dude, every time I go to the tournament and I see knight army, I'm like, that's 5 models. That's nice. When I brought my 150 poxwalkers, I'm like, you put them away. Hold on. Like they're just like boop boop done. Bye.
Yeah, I think you'll see them more of an augment, especially for your Mechanicus guys. I think you're going to see the Mechanicus armies probably running their small little conclave, but they're going to be fielding a lot of those armatures. And Imperial players maybe, but when you have custodes, I don't know if when you're running Imperial Guard or Space Marines, if you really want to run anything but custodes as an augment or guard as an augment. So I don't know. I think we will see a couple new armies pop up, at least 2. I can think of 2 people that are going to start one.
Wait, are you the other?
I might be. Oh yeah, I'm going to do it. What the heck? They're pretty easy to paint up. All I need is my airbrush.
Yeah, I was thinking about John was actually placing the order, and the other John, the Viking, he was placing the order, and I was like, I want one of these, one of them's, I want 2 of them dice, like he's like, wait, what? You want this? And I was like, yeah, I want that. I might want 2 of these, but I'll wait on. I'll just get one now, like the two big knights, the new ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get one for now. And I don't know if I'm going to magnetize it because that always turns out to be a big pain in the butt, but it always kind of pays off. But I don't know. I'm excited though.
Pro tip: I've magnetized the regular knights before. There's a magnet. It's about the size of a nickel that you can get at Hobby Lobby. Where the arm socket is for the Imperial Knight, there's usually like 2 little pegs in there.
Yeah.
You flip those off, and you glue a magnet right there, and then you glue a magnet inside the socket of the arm if you need to swap out arms or anything.
Are you a wizard?
It fits almost perfectly.
Yeah, it's almost you might want to put a little bit of green stuff to help secure it a little bit more, because sometimes if you're using, depending on the super glue you're using, it might break away because the magnets are really powerful. But yeah, I did that with all 5 of my knights and with my Forge World knights. So you might want to do that if there's lots of gun options. But that's swapping out arms, though, so keep that in mind.
So for me, when I did mine, because I don't know if you ever seen my Nurgle knight that I ended up selling, but right there at the joint, you know how the joint does the swivel arm? It was right there, that little peg bit. That's where I magnetized all the different arms, all right there.
That's even better than me. You're so smart. Are you a wizard?
I am not a wizard. I am not a hairy wizard. No, but for my favorite magnet I used, they were like these big flat, like wafer size magnets, and I did it for the waist, right there at that waist joint, so he can turn, and then I can pack him, legs, body. So
we did that for I had my friend put together a Warlord Titan, and to help transport it. We did that with it was about a little bit bigger than a silver dollar magnet, and we did that on the torso, so you can separate the torso from the legs, because transporting a thing is a pain in the butt. Yeah, Frank, I wouldn't doubt we might see Chaos Knights whenever Slanesh comes out. Because they had, oh boy, I can't remember the name of it. The Hell Knight, I think. Had like the rear articulated legs, couple of sonic weapons. I think it was the Hell Knight. Man, that's going to drive me crazy. I'm at the Google that. They used to have a knight. We might see that.
Titan?
The only knight I know of is the Renegade Knight.
Yeah, I know of a Chaos Knight and I know of the Titan.
It was back.
Chaos Knight, the one where you can pick whatever, beneficial actually from the god powers. They did something.
It was back during Epic, and there was a couple of people did some mock-ups when Apocalypse first came out, but it was the Slaneshi, the Subjugator. Had these things called Tormentor Cannons, Twin Link Blastmasters, Hell Slicer Battle Claws, Subjugator Doom Sirens. Yeah, the Subjugator used to be the Hell Knight. Well, a knight back in the day.
Oh, I've seen that. This little crab claw looking goofy thing.
Yeah, they used to have a whole bunch of those knights out during Epic, and when they had the original Titanicus game, they had all the different knight variants and the Hell Knight. I think positive there's one called the Hell Knight, but I can't remember. That's when the first Lord of Battle or Lord of Skulls?
Yeah,
Lord of Skulls.
Yeah, that's when that first came out, though. It looked a lot goofier at that point. They had Korn had a couple other ones. Zinch had some. The Flying Silver Tower was there. Mech. It was a lot of weird things back in the day.
My wife calls the Lord of Skulls the trash can man.
Yeah. It does look like he's got a couple of trash cans on the back. It's a cool model. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it's a cool model.
Really super intimidating, and the sculptor did a very good job on that. But I can see where people think that might be trash cans on the back.
So I googled the Slanesh Subjugator, and I guess I was fitting for Slanesh. And the third picture, somebody actually built one out of a bunch of different bits and stuff. It was the size of a knight. They have a knight in comparison right next to it. That's pretty cool.
You talking about the one that looks like a RoboCop base?
Yes.
Yep. I'm looking at that one too. I just clicked and I was like, that is really cool looking.
That was back in Eldar had a number of knights besides the Wraith Knight that they had. They had one that was like a centaur looking knight. I want to say there was one that was almost like a Psyker type knight. Not Harlequin-like, but man, I can't remember. Had a weird head.
You're talking about the one with the giant face?
No, that was the old original Wraith Lord.
Or was it? Well, guys, it's getting late. It's actually, we're past our hour. We're almost out an hour and a half. We definitely got a lot of good input from everybody. And thanks, guys. So I just read some of the comments about being butthurt. Like lots of guys with Chaos Knights that are quite butthurt. Yeah. Well, all my knights are Chaos Knights, actually. I have 4 knights and they're all Chaos. So, but like I said, I'm not going to let that hold me back. I'm probably going to just play with the knight rules and just say my house decided to jump ship. So that's my best option. But I am now thinking of doing more knights and playing them as Imperial, since I don't usually do that, like, ever. So I may do that. TJ said I need to challenge myself with doing cleaner paint jobs, because I'm pretty good at battle damage. Good at battle damage and Nurgle stuff. That's about it.
Well, at least got a starting point, at least.
Clean straight lines. I mean, my Dark Eldar turned out pretty good. But I actually just pretty much looked at Alan's model and I was like, I could do this, and I did it, and it turned out great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So, all right, guys. Thank you, everyone who enjoyed the show and was watching and commented as well. And a special thank to our Patreons who help us out. We're actually even talking about getting more lights for the studio with the Patreon funds that are coming out because we're still waiting on our dice. I actually have to call ChessX. I don't know where those are. I feel like it was a month ago, wasn't it? That I ordered the dice for you guys? It's been like a month. Yeah.
Yeah, because this is like my 4th or 5th episode.
Yeah. It's been like a month. So.
What?
Yeah, I was on for like 3 weeks before you got on.
Yeah, remember you had your camera issue? Couldn't get the
Yeah.
camera.
No, I'm surprised about the dice. I didn't know there was. Awesome.
Yeah, there's FNP dice coming. So
Awesome.
they're been waiting on them. I think I ordered like 240. So
Awesome. Well,
Woohoo!
can't wait to microwave them. All the sixes.
come with instructions because apparently everyone thinks I microwave my dice on the channel.
Oh, really?
I literally pick up everybody else's dice. Like that's why I created the FNP dice because everyone rolled the same dice on the channel and I'd pick them up and roll them. And I just tell everybody they just roll wrong. That's how you get all the 5s and 6s. So I will teach a rolling class. I taught TJ, and in our game he started rolling really good. He just forgot how, so he started rolling bad again.
You need to teach me how to roll these dice randomly so they come up 5s and 6s.
I'm being facetious, by the way.
What?
Everyone's like, "Oh, you got to teach me how to roll." I was like, "Dude, I'm just kidding. They're random. That's nothing. They just happen."
I've heard some weird theories on how to get the dice to roll the right way.
Oh, I have too. Oh man. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Guys, you got anything else?
No. See you guys next week.
Maybe next week we'll kind of give a little sneak peek. Maybe we'll talk about the new GW tournament pack.
Ooh, that's good.
And maybe about the Games Workshop Warhammer 40,000 RPG coming out.
Oh yeah, we didn't even hit on that. So we got so wrapped up in the 9th. That's gonna be exciting. Yeah, we'll hit on that. We'll hit on how the tournament went with the GW rules that we ran for next Tuesday's show, and battle report. This Friday is coming up. TJ and he got challenged, and so we got film battle report. That'll be out on Friday. It's going to be Eldar versus the O Knights.
Mm.
Ooh, fun.
All right, guys. So thank you so much. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.